Shuckalaka kapow, how's it going, old schoolers? You're kicking it, old school Russell JS. I'm your host, Russell JS. Well, I got another video for you, a versus video, but it's not an album versus album battle royale. It's a cinematic battle royale. One that I was supposed to do a couple nights ago, but I had been tuckered out. I had been tuckered out for the last couple nights. Well, you know how it goes when you're working the 9 to 5, 40-hour week rat race, Monday through Friday. You know, you're always going to get burned out and, you're just resting and thinking to yourself, God, do I really want to do this? And, but I was supposed to do this on one particular day, which was the 23rd of June, because on June 23rd, 1989, amidst the summer blockbusters that were coming out to the movies for that summer, and believe me, I was looking forward to two of them, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade and Ghostbusters 2. But what happened was nobody ever in their right mind thought that one particular movie was going to blow all the blockbusters away that year. I mean, think about the competition you had. You had Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Ghostbusters 2, Lethal Weapon 2, Star Trek 5, Karate Kid 3, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. And out of all of those that really knocked it out of the park was Tim Burton's Batman. Now, here's the thing. I didn't want to see Batman, despite the fact it had Michael Keaton as the title character and Jack Nicholson as the Joker. I didn't know who Jack Nicholson really was, and then and I remember going to the theater with my dad to see Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and they were playing the trailer before the movie. You know how you go to the movies and they play that string of movie trailers, what's coming out soon? Well, they had the trailer for Batman, and I was unimpressed with it because the only thing I knew about Batman was the old TV show with Adam West, and I used to love that show as a kid. And what I didn't realize was my father had told me, well, that's how Batman really was. That was just for a gimmick, a gag. It was supposed to be comedy. And, Batman was actually very serious. And he was showing me his Batman comics. So before I went to go see Ghostbusters 2, I went with my cousins because I was getting to go to a movie with my cousins that were visiting from New Jersey. And they had already seen Ghostbusters 2, which was what I wanted to see. And I was told, hey, if you don't go to see Batman, you don't go to see anything. It's like years ago when you had dinner. Remember whatever was on your plate, you had to eat it or else you got nothing? Same kind of deal. So I decided to give it a chance. And, after flipping through my dad's Batman comics, I became obsessed with Batman. I mean, to me, after looking at those comics, I was like, wow, this is just like the comic book come to life. And then you fast forward to 2005, they decided to revamp the Batman franchise because by that time there were 4 live-action Batman movies, and the 4th one failed to get any kind of praise or popularity because you had George Clooney at that point donning the cape and cowl. And, before that was Val Kilmer, which Batman Forever was not all that bad. I mean, Val Kilmer, he was great for taking over where Keaton left off. But what had happened was, I remember when Batman Begins, I didn't see it at the theater. I didn't get the chance to do so because I was busy. I was kind of dealing with a personal issue I had at the time with a certain somebody. So I didn't have money to go to the theater. I was lucky enough to go see Star Wars Episode 3 of Revenge of the Sith. But when I finally got to see it out on video later on that fall when it came out to video, I was impressed by it. As a matter of fact, yeah, I got both movies right here. Batman Begins and Batman 89, these two are going to duke it out. And here's why I'm putting this video here, because I'm going to go over how I feel the difference between the two. And remember, if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit a like, comment, leave comments down in that box below, ring that bell for notifications, and tell your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your nieces and nephews, your sons, your daughters, your grandparents, your aunts and uncles, your grandsons, your granddaughters, your coworkers, your roommates, your schoolmates, and, even your pets. Anybody that wants to kick it old school. And remember, keep it real. All right, and without further ado, let's see how these two bad Oscar movies rank out, shall we? In the case of Batman 89 versus Batman Begins, the way the films were directed, Batman 89 with Tim Burton, I have to say Tim Burton did a fantastic job with the direction, with, each scene. And Christopher Nolan, he did even a really good job, with each scene. So you know what? I'm giving both movies a point. Production on 89 by Peter Guber and John Peters versus production by Charles Roven, Emma Thiers, and Larry Franco. I'd say the production for both movies were really great. So this is they were pretty good, but you know what? I don't think the production can compare to Peter Guber and John Peters. So there's a point right there for 89. The writers, Sam Hamm and Warren Scarron for 89 versus Christopher Nolan and David S. Goyer for Batman Begins. Okay, here's where I do a comparison, okay? This is where I say Batman 89 should have been, this is the thing. I think it should have been written this way, and I'm going to come to that reason pretty soon. But as far as I'm concerned with the writing, and I'll tell you why, Batman Begins is going to get a point right there for the writing. Now, executive producer Benjamin Melniker and Michael Uslan, going against Michael Uslan, Benjamin Melniker, and Joan Philo. You know what? It's almost the same people, so this is going to hurt right here. Okay, here we go. Cast. The cast of Batman 89 versus Batman Begins. You know what? Both these movies have got a great, solid cast. I mean, how could you go wrong with Batman 89 casting Jack Nicholson, who was the Joker, Michael Keaton as Batman / Bruce Wayne, Kim Basinger, Billy D. Williams, and, and Robert Wall, going against the cast with Christian Bale, Michael Caine, Katie Holmes, Morgan Freeman, Gary Oldman, Liam Neeson. You know what? This is where I say both these movies have got a strong cast, hence both these movies are getting a point. Little ant there. All right, now the plot of Batman 89 versus the plot of Batman Begins. Now, here's where I'm getting to the writing part. Okay? Now, in Batman 89, the plot for this movie, the story is focusing on Batman putting a stop to the Joker causing chaos on Gotham City after emerging from falling into a vat of chemicals. This is the thing. It's mainly a Joker origin story. And in this movie, Batman's already established. I mean, already he's been, beating the daylights out of street hoods and thugs. And he's already established, and, he's kind of like a legend or a rumor. And this movie is more focused. I mean, the Joker wants to kill Batman, and after a while, Batman wants to kill the Joker. And plus, the one thing I didn't like it first, but the book Batman Resurrection answered that problem, why it happened. I didn't like the fact that Alfred let Vicky Vale into the Batcave. I remember the little joke in Batman Returns when Alfred was lecturing Bruce Wayne about proper security, and Bruce goes, "Oh, security? Who let Vicky Vale in the Batcave? I'm sitting there working." It's like, "Oh, hey Vic, come on in." You know, that, I mean, I love how they went ahead and poked fun at that later on in Batman Returns. But yeah, this is more of a Joker origin story, and in many ways, I didn't understand because I was young. Bruce Wayne was already wanting to tell Vicky Vale because he was feeling, you know, his mind was starting to get a little bit more stable now. I guess he really wanted to tell Vicky Vale that he was Batman. So, you know, at that time, I wasn't too proud. Now, here's the plot for Batman Begins. The story focuses on Bruce Wayne, how he rose from the trauma of his parents being murdered, and how he would train. You know, this is the story right here that should have been incorporated for Batman 89. This is what I talk about, the writing. This is Batman's origin right here, how he became, why he does what he does, and how it helps him overcome his trauma of the tragedy, you know, his parents getting killed in front of him. So right here, that's where I say the point goes to Batman Begins on the story. And now, here we get to the music score. Danny Elfman's music score versus Hans Zimmer. You know, Hans Zimmer, he's a great composer. He really is. I mean, he's done a lot of great work in movies, but still, I do not think at all that his score for Batman Begins or anything in the Dark Knight trilogy can ever compare to Batman 89. So therefore, there's a point right there. And now we get to set designers. Anton Furst versus, rest in peace, Anton, versus Nathan Crowley. Now, okay, here's what. The set design for Batman 89, yes, I'm not saying this because Anton Furst had died. You know, he took his own life. He made it look as if he took Gotham City, Wayne Manor, the Batcave, the Batmobile, and Batman, all the characters, all the main characters, literally pulled them out of the pages of DC Comics, put them in live action on the screen. They used, they went ahead, they used a backlot to a movie studio in London, which made a perfect fit for Gotham City. But as for the set design in Batman Begins, they used parts of Chicago and parts of London for Gotham City, and sound stages for the Batcave, which, yes, sound stages for, the Batcave and Wayne Manor and everything. Yeah, okay, I get that. But you know what? I'm sorry, but the Gotham City in Batman 89 gets a point. The set design gets a point right there. Now, last detail, but certainly not the least, the costume design. Bob Ringwood versus Lindy Hemming. Batman's suit looked cool and all. So did the Scarecrow's suit. But the way Bob Ringwood designed all the costumes for Batman and Joker, it was right out of the comic book. And I think it's because in Batman Begins, this is supposed to be more realistic, more modern. But you know what? Bob Ringwood gets the point for Batman 89. And now, here is the result. Here is the winning result for this debate right here, my self-debate. You got Batman 89 with 7 points. Batman Begins with 5. That means there you have it right there. Batman 89, winner. Like I said, I wanted to do this video, a couple days ago, but I was too zonked and too, burned out. So I put it off for a couple days, but you know what? All in all, I got the video done, and there you have it. And that's all the time I have for this video, so remember, keep it real, keep it fresh, keep it chill. Keep watching old school movies, keep listening to old school music, keep watching old school TV shows, keep playing old school video games. Keep it real, keep it fresh, keep it chill. Get you enough of love, make everything totally rad, be totally rad, be totally awesome. Get you enough of love, get you enough of peace, get you enough of tranquility, get you enough of less drama, no chaos, less chaos, no chaos. Keep it real, keep kicking it old school. And as always, I wish you all Godspeed. May the force be with you always. And shakalaka kapow!